Welcome to the Alpa Pandya Show podcast. Alpa is the founder of Mind Matrix Coaching, a business and mindset coach. Bob Proctor's top UK consultant, author of the book Your Superpower Mind, and BBC radio presenter. Alpa is on a mission to help you achieve anything you want through the game of minds.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the official sound of my brand new podcast, the Alpa Pandya Show. Yay! With the sub-headliner being Game of Minds. And there's a very, very good reason why I've decided to call it that, which I will talk about later on in the podcast. So it's awesome of you to be here. I truly mean that. I mean, I am super, super excited. As for me, this has been a dream in the making for over 3 years, possibly more. And finally, I've got it launched. So I'm going to be doing a series of these podcasts, giving you value and content and making you think differently about you, your life and where you are heading. Plus, of course, asking you, what do you need to help you get there? Because let's face it, now, most people want to make something of themselves, whether that's starting up a new business, leaving a dead-end job and doing something else, traveling the world, creating better relationships, being a success, whatever success means to you and however you define success, but being a success at it. However, very, very few actually make it happen. And there's a fundamental reason, well, there's quite a few reasons, but there's one fundamental reason why most don't get there. And I will be talking about that in the coming weeks too, and sharing with you the pitfalls that people go through and how to avoid them. So I guess the next question is, why should you listen to me? Why are you spending your time listening to my podcast when there's millions and millions of other success podcasts out there? And who the hell am I, right? Well, you might be new to me. You might have been following me for a while on social media, and that's great if you are. Or I may have had the great privilege of coaching you. Whatever the case, I am super, super excited to have you here, and I hope to be able to get to know you better, and of course provide some support to you throughout this podcast. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a business and lifestyle coach. I have been trained and mentored, and I continue to be mentored by who I call the master in human potential and success. He's the longest standing figure in the personal development industry. He has been coached by the likes of Earl Nightingale, who, if you don't know, he is one of the godfathers of the American Broadcasting Corporation, but he's also the co-founder of the Nightingale Corporation alongside Lloyd Connor. I'm talking about Bob Proctor. Okay, you might have seen him in the hit movie The Secret, if you've seen that. But aside from that, Bob's been in the industry, as I say, for over 58 years. So I work very, very closely with Bob in his organization at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And it was actually in August 2014 where I manifested my way working with Bob by watching The Secret. And I'll share that story with you as well later on in the podcast in the coming weeks. But now I'm working so closely with Bob. And I say this humbly, I am one of his top consultants here in the UK. And that is just a huge, huge achievement, which never did I think that would ever happen. So I coach individuals and small businesses to help them succeed with their business and personal goals so that they can live more enriched and more fulfilled and more productive lives. I'm also the founder of my own coaching company called Mind Matrix Coaching. And I have worked with and coached with singer-songwriters. I've worked with housewives. I've worked with doctors. I've coached dentists, lawyers, and I've helped them all to achieve their goals and their dreams. Aside from all of that, I also have a background in radio. I'm a radio presenter, and I've been in the industry for about almost 25 years now. I've presented my shows on BBC local radio as well as BBC national radio, all here in the UK, and on commercial radio too as well. I was the presenter of a show called, funnily enough, the Alpa Pandya Show, which was actually on BBC Asian Network. And also I did a show called Breakfast with Alpa on Subrus Radio, which is a commercial radio station. So that's a little bit about me. And every week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a theme on these podcasts, and I'll be asking you a question about you and what you really, really want for you. You know, what do you want to achieve? What is your biggest dream out there? Because what I want to do is I want to help you as much as I can. I want to share as much knowledge as I've gained through being mentored by Bob Proctor and many other mentors that I've had. And, you know, just sharing some of my knowledge with you so that you can apply it and take action should you wish. And taking action is the biggest thing that you can do. So today I want to talk about something which I have found to be one of the biggest stumbling blocks for both men and women when it comes to achieving big results in their lives, and that is self-image. So what does that mean to you? When I say self-image, what is it that runs through your mind? Because research shows that 80%, now this is shocking if you're not aware of how your mind works. So 80% of what we call our experience is caused by things that are happening in our minds, in our emotions. They are internally going on, and only 20% as a result of our circumstances or what's going on outside of us. Okay. Now, that's fundamentally what I actually coach my clients on. I coach people on how to shift their paradigms. Now, if that's a word that you've never heard before and it's the first time you're hearing it here on the podcast, then I'm going to be talking a lot about paradigms, what they actually are, and how you can actually shift your paradigm. You can actually go through a paradigm shift. So going back to what research is telling us, 80%, a staggering 80% of what you're calling your experience in the area of business, success, lifestyle, that's being shaped by your unconscious or subconscious beliefs. And the deepest level, the underlying sense of what you think you deserve, you know, what you think is possible for you, or what you think isn't possible, that has been shaped and formed by your families, you know, messages from our culture and, you know, old interpretations of past experiences that you've had. So if you've had a bad experience in business, you generalize that, and all the stories about being successful, having wealth, what is and what isn't possible for you is generalized. Now, the real challenging thing is that these beliefs that you've created, they feel like they're true. They feel real in our bodies. They feel real in our psyches, but they are actually the number one barrier to be able to create the lifestyle that we desire. So the old stories that we have about ourselves and our worthiness and our abilities and the beliefs that, you know, people are way too more powerful than I am, or they're way too more evolved, or beliefs about money is the root of all evil, you know, beliefs about ourselves limiting our potential, that's what's causing, and that's the pattern that you're repeating in your life. So that's why you're getting the results that you're getting in your life. If I give you my example, I used to believe that I wouldn't be able to have a thriving business because I knew nothing about setting up a business. I've never ever had a business before. I've now got three successful businesses. Now, that's a story I kept telling myself, that people would laugh at me because I didn't know how to work a spreadsheet. You know, I didn't know anything about business. I'm shit at maths. Excuse the French, but I really am. You know, I failed my GCSE maths twice. So beliefs that, you know, we are taught in school that you must have you English and maths as part of your academia in order to move forward in life. Well, you know, I'm living proof. I failed my GCSE maths, but I'm still a very successful woman when it comes to my business and in my personal life. So beliefs about success is for the high flyers. That's another belief I had, you know, who already have the money. And these are beliefs that are limiting. And a lot of these beliefs, I'm sure you can relate to as well. So these are all crazy stories we tell ourselves, but they feel real. And what happens is that these stories show up in our lives as very, very painful patterns that happen over and over and over again, unless we do something about it. But the point is, and the fact is, not many people know what to do about it. They don't know how to change those limiting beliefs, those paradigms. And, you know, you invest a lot of time and energy on people and they disappear, for example. You take the risk to show up vulnerably and you're rejected. You know, you're a trusting and kind person and you're taken advantage of by people who are not so good people themselves. So whatever pattern is in your history, the truth is that you're co-creating these dynamics based on these old stories about who you are, who others are, and what is or isn't possible for you. Okay. Now, what's at stake is if you do not challenge these old stories that you're telling yourself and you continue to accept them as the truth, they will keep you alone in life. They will keep you pushing success away. You know, even opportunities come your way, but you will mess up. And if you're living inside this old story, either you won't see them as opportunities or you're going to sabotage it because you're showing up in a way that creates evidence to reinforce that old story that you keep telling yourself. So the results that you are achieving are a direct reflection of the image of yourself that you are holding. So if you improve the image that you are holding, the image will automatically be reflected in your results and your results will automatically improve. Now, there's a book, and it's an amazing book, and it's been dedicated on self-image. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. So if you've never ever read that book, I highly recommend that you get that book because it is without question one of the greatest books that you will ever read on self-image psychology. And in his book, Dr. Maltz explains how a patient came to him one day and said that he was bankrupt and ruined and disgraced. And Maltz looked at him and said, "Hold on just a moment. The fact is, you are bankrupt, and it is your opinion that you're ruined and disgraced. Okay? The opinion you have of yourself will always be reflected to the world around you, and it will be manifested in the results that you achieve in life." Okay? So keep that in mind that it isn't an opinion of yours, and you can change it at any time you choose. Remember, it's not what people think of you that matters, it's what you think of yourself that matters. So self-image, as we know it today, was first discovered by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who was involved with the reconstructive surgery, or it's known now as, plastic surgery. He found that when he did surgery on a patient and possibly removed or repaired some form of disfiguration to the person's face, there was not only a great change in the person's appearance, there was a noticeable psychological improvement. And what Maltz also observed that with some patients, regardless of how successful the physical operation was, there was no psychological change at all, right? So this led him to kind of postulate that we actually have two images. We actually have two images, the one that reflects back to us from the mirror and the one we hold in our mind, which we call the inner image. And as the inner image is changed, the person's world changes. Now, a lot of the times we're only dealing with the outer image. Okay, we're dealing with what we look like. We're dealing with the cosmetic side of our image, how we dress, how we conduct ourselves, how we look like, right? That is important. But also, in alignment to that, your inner image is even more important. The image that you cannot see that's reflected in the mirror. So it's not uncommon today for corporations to invest in a considerable amount of money on the corporate image, okay, which is called branding, of course, or logos. Just the same as individuals and corporations have images, teams have images as well. So if you own a business yourself and you've got a team of people, it's not uncommon to see a team involved in some sport that has no superstars, yet they win the championship. Okay, that is because each member of the team is operating with the same effective image of what they want and believe they can accomplish it. And that's the key. You've got to believe that you can accomplish what it is that you're setting out to do. So what we have is we have programmed into the deep recess of our mind a perception of who we are, what you are, and what you are worth. Okay. And it's referred to as an inner self-image. And it literally is a control mechanism that determines what comes into your life and how well you do with that. It's got nothing to do with how you're brought up in terms of the environment. It's got nothing to do with you coming from a not so educated background. It's got nothing to do with how many degrees you've got. It's got nothing to do with your job background. It's got nothing to do with how much wealth and prosperity you have or haven't had. It's all to do with how you see yourself, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you meet and greet people. That image is the outer expression of your inner image. Okay. So your results are always a reflection of what is going on internally. And if you have a negative or a bad image of yourself, your results are going to be a reflection of that image. So how do you change that? Well, you change that through visualizing the person that you want to become. The self-image that is fixed in your subconscious mind will determine how the rest of the world will see you. So if you want to be the person who is seen as the successful person, the person who everybody wants to be around, then you have to change that inner image first before you change your outer image. Okay. And a lot of fast moving and powerful and profitable organizations, they understand that people work better together. They encourage and educate people to be effective team members. So again, if you own a business or if you're a part of a corporation, this is really, really important to you, because not only does the organization win, so does every individual in the organization, because individuals grow when they have the support of team members. And when a team operates in a spirit of harmony towards the same objective, you have one of the most powerful forces in the world, and it's called creative professionalism. Okay, you have a creative professional team, and they have difficulty differentiating between working and having fun. And all they do is create results that they really want, and create results that really, really count. So it's important also to remember, and this is something that I learned from Bob from a very, very early stage, is that givers gain. If you can help any member of your team or in your network in every way you can, cooperation is always more powerful than competition. Okay, because amateurs compete, professionals don't compete. They actually know what they're doing. Professionals gain. Professionals give. Okay. If you want to be in competition with anybody, be in competition with yourself. Better yourself today than what you did yesterday. So I'm going to leave you with a question. I hope you found that valuable. And if you want to know more about self-image and how you can change your inner image, what it is that you need to do, first and foremost, I'd advise you to get that book by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics, and read it. No, don't just read it, but study it. Study what he's saying in there, okay? Because if your external world is a mirror of your internal self-image, the question I have for you is, what is your external world telling you about your self-image? Yeah. How would you describe your self-image you project on the outside world? Is it, and be honest here, is it a true image of how you feel about yourself? Or are there differences between what you project and how you really feel about yourself? Okay. Think about this. Think about the qualities you have. Think about what it is that you want to improve. And an exercise that I can give you right away that's gonna help you change that inner image is to think about the qualities of the person that you admire and respect. Someone who has a positive self-image. Call that person to mind and think about their qualities, and write out a description in the present tense of the qualities that they have that you admire. Okay. And then what I want you to do is take that description and totally relax. Begin to see yourself as that person. Act as if you literally become that person. It could be anybody, a sports personality, a TV personality, somebody that you know in person yourself, somebody that you admire and respect. It could be your own boss. And literally become that person, embrace this self-image, begin to imprint this image on your subconscious mind, and you will start to see. And if you do this with repetition every single day, first thing when you wake up and last thing before you go to bed, and if you do that for 30 days, you will start seeing a big shift in your inner image. I hope that's helped. I hope that's been of value to you. Hope that's been an easy listen for you. There's so much more, and I'll be delving in deeper and deeper. But I think as a first podcast, that's a lot of information for me to give you and for you to digest, and then also take away with you and start implementing some of the techniques that I've taught you and spoken about on this very, very first podcast of the Alpa Pandya Show and Game of Minds. Until next week, be good, be careful, to your success always. Keep going, keep going. Thank you. Take care.
The Alpa Pandya Show is brought to you by Mind Matrix Coaching, your quantum leap to success.